Hey Collegiate, I'm Jay Bennett, Executive Director of Collegiate Church Network, and welcome to Collegiate Conversations, a space for conversations of all shapes and sizes coming to the Collegiate Church Network. Today, we are continuing a series conversation on health, where we're looking at all things related to health, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, relational, you name it. And today we have a few special guests. We have Mike Smith and Dr. Tami Smith with us. And then we also have my wife, Tami Bennett, is joining in. So Dr. Tami Smith has been a blessing to our movement. You got to hear her speak last year if you're with us, or even a couple of years ago at several conferences. She is a counselor, a podcaster, and a wise woman of the Lord. And Mike Smith is a pastor of one of the supporting churches down in Ohio, Vista Church and Vista Community Church, and has been serving our movement on the board for a number of years. So we're excited to have both of you with us today in this conversation. And then also my wife, I've asked to join us. Just figured it would be a little bit more exciting to have someone else helping in the interview conversation. She is a registered pediatric nurse, works in the ICU world. So she works in the health field and has lots of perspectives and thoughts. She's also a consultant on the legal side for her nursing side. So people come to her for a lot of things. We are going to be asking the questions and giving all of us an opportunity just to sit and learn at the feet of Mike and Tami Smith. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, we're so excited to be here. Yeah. I don't know about our feet and learning at the feet.
We can readjust the camera. We're good. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, I was super excited to meet and have Tami with us too. That's awesome.
Absolutely. We're always glad to help however we can. Hope it's helpful.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna kind of look at this in this conversation in three different parts. The first part is kind of looking at the present moment that we're in. So 2020 pandemic, there's been tons of a lot of craziness. The interesting thing is we got to hear both of you speak 1 year ago at the Collegiate Conference. And if you think about the last 12 months, so much has changed globally, nationally, locally along that way. So we're going to look at the present moment. Then I'd love to hear some perspectives from you guys just on the world and what's going on. And then, as you always do, lead us to Jesus, in the last part here. So in light of the last year, 12 months, all that's changed, to wade into this conversation a bit, can you take a few minutes and just speak to the present moment that we find ourselves in, and even share how the last 12 months has been for you personally?
You go.
Well, the reality is we've never been here before.
Yeah.
We've never been here before. You've never been here before. And I think that's really important to actually let that sink in, because that kind of glances off of us and we go, well, yeah, duh, like we've never been here before. Nobody's ever been here before. But immediately that begins to have implications on our lives. And so the reason we've never been here before is because it is still an unknown. We still do not know when it's going to end. We don't know who we're going to lose in the process. We do not know if we're going to get sick. We do not know what's going to happen to our economy. We do not know what's going to happen to the infrastructure of how things happen in our even regular discourse. Are we going to have handshaking? Is it going to go away as a culture after this? Are we going to be masked forever after this? We have so many unknowns that it's a time that none of us have ever faced. And the human being as an entity does not do well with the unknown. I'll stop there for right now, but we've never been here before, and we are sitting in a time where the unknown is driving us all on a level that is impacting us, whether we know it or not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think he said something about personal.
Personally?
Yeah.
You want me to do the personal part?
Yeah, Mike, add to this conversation. More than I agree with that.
Yeah. I love the pandemic. I'm an introvert. I'm overly family centric.
He's also hyperbolic.
I'm an introvert. I'm overly family centric, and I think the church and the world needs to change and get shaken up. So I have more anxiety about the pandemic ending. Seriously, like I enjoy new things. I enjoy isolation. I like being with my family at home. So for me personally, the most burdensome thing for me is how everybody else is hurting. Like tons of people are hurting. And I would be having a great time, even in the church. The things that we're facing and changing and adapting needed to get adapted 10 years ago. We started talking about it as a church 2 years ago. And we're thinking like, okay, we know what we need to do, but what's going to be the catalyst? How are we going to get this thing to go? It's just been crazy. So, but all of that for me, how it's not personally all that unsettling. I think it's good for the church. The most difficult part is a lot of people are hurting, like a lot of people, maybe everybody. And that just is a weight, as a pastor, like we're talking to pastors, it is the weight for me is not the pandemic, it's just how much people are hurting.
And Mike is super gracious because it's also been a highlighted time of challenge for us personally, because our personalities are really different. And the pandemic has highlighted those personality differences in a way where we've had to be like, we lean into working on our relationship in a way like we haven't had to for a long time. And so we've had to do that, haven't we?
We have, but it's been good. Like we're better than ever, but we are different. She's more solids and I'm more stripes.
Well said. You both. Go ahead, Tammy, please.
Yeah, so to that point, I think one of the things that's played into our challenge, to everyone's challenge, there's a couple of things that everyone's dealing with, which is, okay, there's more time at home. There's more potential, like smaller areas of contact, smaller places of refueling relationally for people. And what that's meant is, we have to adjust the way that we interact. We have to get more used to, time together. Like for instance, when spouses will retire, they have to go through that kind of thing, those kind of readjustments. So the larger issue that's going on with everybody about this unknown deal is that nobody, and I mean nobody, none of us have our normal internal resources available to us. So like when a computer is running and then there's like a program running in the background, you know how that happens? And all the stuff in the foreground is starting to run slowly for some reason. You're like, what's the matter? Why is Word slowing down? Or why is, Excel flipping out right now? It's because there's a program unseen running in the background. That's what's going on. So mothers are like, why can't I listen to my toddler talk and make dinner at the same time anymore? I can't do that anymore. Or people are like, why is it taking me an hour to send an email when it used to take me 10 minutes? What's going on? None of us have our normal resources available.
Why is the crunching of the cereal so much louder during the pandemic?
Right. So I think that's really important because that has implications for relationship. It has implications for oneself, the expectations one has of oneself. It has implications for expectations for how life can be and the cadence of life. So,
yeah. Do you feel people are getting stuck there? Like you just said, those things that are coming up, they make us think differently about ourselves and we get stuck in ourselves. Do you see that happening to people around you a lot where they're just over analyzing? Is that a thing? Over analyzing? Is that bad?
I don't know, Jason, you and I tend to be more similar kinds of people, but there's other kinds of people that kind of think that's bad. So
I'm just in this season though, like you guys are regularly seeing that like to a heightened level.
What people are doing is trying to operate according to their normal. Why can't I just get on up over my issue like I normally do? Why can't I just get this thing done like I normally do? Why don't I have the normal energy that I normally do? And so they're having a hard time like having grace for themselves and adjusting to the reality of actually there's something sapping your resources in a way that's different. And you have to learn to like give yourself grace in that regard, adjust your expectation, that kind of thing. So people are getting stuck in, why can't I do this? So I don't know if you'd call it overanalyzing or not, but.
I don't know if this relates to your question, but I asked Tammy, I don't know, a few months ago, I think I was preparing for a message and I said, tell me some themes that you're seeing in your practice. Like, what are you seeing? She has a pretty eclectic crowd of people that she sees as clients. And I said, what are the common things that are going on because of the pandemic? And I don't know if I can summarize this, but I felt like what you said was, I have to do a lot of very basic work every single week with people. The very basic things, like it's going to be okay. I don't know. Just, it was like, okay, we're not working on necessarily the big issues. It's like everybody needs help on a very fundamental level because of how drained and wiped out they are.
And they don't know it because everyone's like, well, we're fine. We ate dinner and we have enough money and like everyone's kind of fine. No one's sick and dying right now. So we're fine. So what's the problem? We're having a hard time seeing how, no, these small ways that we're not the same, these small depressions, these small anxieties, those are the ways in which our internal resources are being sapped. So, yeah.
So
Yeah. So Mike and I, you know, we took to calling this time the revealing.
Yeah. It's just like pressure always does that. Pressure always reveals the inner strength or the deepest foundation that you have. And so you end up discovering what you haven't dealt with or what you need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
That you know. So yeah, it's stripping away a lot of, which is good though, right? Like it's like, is this a good time or a bad time? Well,
what's it revealing?
Yeah, I mean, if you've been just eating, drinking, living your merry life, you're overweight, you know, you're just eating whatever you want, and then you have a heart attack and you're in the hospital, is that bad? You had a mild heart attack and you're in the hospital? Well, you could be on your way to a lot better health. I mean, you just didn't know what was going on. I feel like there's a lot of that. That's been the primary work that we've done at Vista, is posture people as quickly as we could for a long haul and change.
All right, say more to that. When you say long haul, people have talked about this being, you know, obviously an unprecedented season.
Yeah.
They've said, there was the whole article that came out that is this just, you know, a snowstorm? Is it a winter, a blizzard, or is this like an ice age?
Right.
When you say long haul, what does that mean that you're telling people?
Well, number one, the pandemic is not going to end soon. In July, when we had to, like everybody had to consider canceling our services on Sunday morning, I immediately realized I do not want to cancel services every other month. I don't want people sitting on the edge of their seat wondering if we're going to come back. So we aimed at September of 2021. Not as a time we would come back, but as a time that this thing might possibly start to subside and we could have something normal again. But we even talked about a new norm that we're going to establish and launch in September rather than going backwards. So the first thing is, okay, let's aim beyond this sort of pandemic pain to some greater shift, some greater development, some greater adaptations. Let's commit to that long term. And then secondly, it's all up for grabs right now, but I feel pretty strongly we're not going back to any kind of normal. Like, this is like anything in life. Typically when it's physical, some traumatic injury, you got to figure out how to go forward with that. And that's where we are. That things might look a little bit normal, but if we go back to normal, I think we'll have missed the whole point that God could possibly do. So long term, as in this is not going to end soon, and long term, these changes are going to be forever.
Yeah, that's good.
Long haul personally is the people that are, I wanted to go back to the way it was. I miss my blank and the way life was. And I really like the way my life was set up. And they're just like holding their breath till it gets back. They're just trying to just, okay, one more month. I can do one more month. Okay, I can do one more month. That is really not good on your body. And that is not good for even moving with a God who we say is in charge and a God who we say is sovereign, right? And so I have found that the people that are able to literally grieve the things like, yeah, it's not this, like you lost a lot of things this year. It's legit. You lost a lot of things this year. Able to grieve those things and embrace this change as change and therefore an opportunity. Those are the people that are doing the best. The people that are not doing well are the ones that are kind of literally just like, just get me back. Like if I can just get blank back, if I can just get blank back, that's a bad space for the human body to be in and the human soul to be in for a long period of time.
Yeah, that makes sense. You've already answered, just walked through a number of these questions that I already had written down. I do wonder if, knowing that it is unprecedented, is different, I'm wondering if you can recall a different season, maybe not to the full extent of this, or a time where people on a whole were doing as poorly as they are right now, as it seems. And do you see any parallels between those times?
Not on the whole, but definitely personally, right? People have gone through massive stuff in their life, and it has had the same effect: loss, injury, trauma, uncovering historic trauma. Individuals have been through worse, and people are going through traumatic, life-changing stuff all the time individually, maybe as a family, but never on this scale, not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, and I would say, to put a finer point on it, and even to the particular, I believe, audience that we're interacting with right now, the client load that I do see are primarily influencers, leaders. So I see an overwhelming majority of people that I see right now are pastors. This is my counseling practice. Pastors, they're leaders, they're doctors, they're other counselors, they're missionaries. So these are people that are looking to be change agents, are people that are willing to lead in a crisis, willing to put themselves out there as finding a way through. Those people, there's never been a time like this that I've been aware of for them, because there are so many no-win situations for leaders right now. Because of the nature of the climate of what's going on in our broader world, in particular in America, leaders have become recently, they're somebody to beat up on. It's part of what people are doing right now, which is
blame shifting,
taking aim at leaders. So think about all the things that are going on right now. Every leader that I know of, and I work with pastors of very small churches, I work with pastors of large churches and even larger national organizations. I work with doctors of small hospital units. I work with it doesn't matter. What's happening is that the leaders can't make a decision without being shot at from one direction or the other. So if you decide a certain COVID protocol, to mask or not mask, to meet or not meet, okay, it doesn't matter. You're going to take it from either side. In the particular height of some things that went on this summer, okay, your response to the systemic injustices and those kinds of issues that have arisen. Okay, you're speaking too much, you're speaking too little, you're not speaking at all. Why are you not speaking? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If they speak, it's the wrong thing. If they don't speak, they're not speaking enough. And it's across the board. Same thing in the political environment that we're at. Why are you not trying to wade into what's going on in the political environment? Every angle that pastors and leaders are coming at from right now, what happens is they are being shot at from the other side, so to speak. And that is what I find is eating the lunch of the leaders right now, is because they're not afraid to say, I'll be a person that finds a way through. I'm a win-win person. I'm a person that knows how to reframe. So even those people that have gifts in reframing and win-win thinking, they are unable to find a way through, because usually people are looking for leaders to lead in times like this. People are looking for leaders to then have somebody to take out their angst on. And so it is handcuffing the leadership that I'm around left and right. And it doesn't matter gender, it doesn't matter education, it doesn't matter the socioeconomic level that they minister to. It's across the board.
Yeah.
It's a very, very rough time for leaders in particular.